Christy here from TheJollyFatElf. Thank you so much for joining me today. So in today's video, we're going to be playing with some digital images from the Greeting Farm. So the Greeting Farm, she has been kicking out these amazing scenes that you can create, then print and color. So you guys know I love using digital images. So today I am creating not only a birthday card, but a happy anniversary card for my best friend. He just had a birthday and he and his husband just celebrated their first year of marriage. So I'm going to walk you through how I do this on the computer using the Silhouette software, which is completely free. You don't need a Silhouette machine to use. And then I will walk you through creating the card. So yeah, so let's head over to the computer and we'll get started. Okay friends, so make sure that you download the free version of this software. You don't need to pay for it. So how I start off is I always start by creating the card, like the card front, the size of the card front that I want. Initially for this card, I was going to make it into a slimline card. So that's why you see a rectangle that measures 3.5 by 8.5. So I'm just pulling and dropping my items in from my folder. Now I don't know how you do it on a Windows PC. I haven't been on a PC in probably almost a decade, really. So, but on a Mac, you can just drag and drop them in. So you want to make sure that you're not dropping them into the rectangle, because then the design will take up the entire rectangle. And there you saw all of the pieces that were included. So I knew I wanted a couch because she has these little images that are sitting. So I wanted them sitting together on the couch. And then I wanted it like a little room around them. So I'm bringing in the side tables, I'm bringing in some lamps, and I'm just using like, I'm not here to teach you how to use Silhouette software. I'm just showing you how I put things together in the software because I find it to be a little bit easier than trying to use a word processing program. And again, this is free software, and all we're going to do is we're going to print. We're not cutting. So yeah, so the reason why I like to do this is because when you right click, you can send stuff to the back, you can bring it forward, you can send it just back, or you can send it all the way back. You can resize, and like I said, I'm able to draw the size of the card front that I want in order to complete the project that I want. So I have the birthday set as well, so I went ahead and brought out a little cake. Initially I was going to put some presents on the table, but I felt like they were a bit too big and took away from it. So I brought in some gift bags instead and put one on each end. And again, we're not cutting, so I don't have any, the only line I have on is my print border. That way I print within where the print border is. So my lines aren't outside of that. And here I'm like, oh, I should put a piece of cake. And then I was like, no. And then I was like, well, maybe it should have been 2 pieces of cake. And I'm like, I don't know. And then I brought in a little one candle because, like I said, it's their first anniversary, or was their first anniversary. They're now on year 2, or working on year 2. And like I said, she has so many great images. So I ended up grouping these all together, and then I resized this down to 4.25 by 5.5, and then I ungrouped it because I felt like I wanted the rug to be just a little bit bigger. And then I am typing the word happy anniversary. So these automatically turn up as cut lines, so you kind of have to fill in the, you can do it whatever color you want to. I did black. And I just went through and picked the fonts that I wanted. Now this is at 8x speed, so it didn't, like, this was like 30 minutes of footage on its own, and I also wanted to add in the coloring for the card. So so I sped this up real quick. So this is not how fast it normally goes, but you can really play around with it as much as you want. And like I said, what I really love about it is you can really set your parameters and then work inside that card front. Now for the one at the top, that's the one I'm going to be sharing with you guys on Instagram. You can see that my balloons are going past the lines. That's why I went ahead and turned the lines around on dark. So I have a cutting guide. So I turned them dark and then I made them just a little bit bigger. And now I'm turning all of the lines black because initially they were in red. And then I'm saving it and then I'm printing it. And here it is printed. So it turned out really, really cute, and you can see where my lines are, so I can cut this out and go ahead and color it. Again, free software. Of course, the images aren't free, but the software is free. You can play around with it. You know, if you feel better using your word processing or whatever, use whatever feels good for you. But like I said, this is free, it's simple, and you don't have to get like Photoshop or something like that. So I decided I need to find the spot where the wall starts and the floor starts. So I drew two lines, and it's kind of like my crown molding or my baseboards. So you just have to find where you think it would be even with the back. Again, this is all about perspective. And then I'm drawing in some lines because I want to do a wood floor. Now, if I had to go back and do this card again, and I could because I have another one, I would probably do a darker gray on the floor. I did a light gray, and I wish it were a little bit darker and possibly just a bit warmer. This card turned out very, very cool toned, which I don't mind, but I think a little bit of warmth. And I didn't add any light coming out of the lamps or anything like that. I wanted this to be a bit more simple and something I haven't done before. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing with my lines. I'm using a pencil to mark them in, and then I will bring in a gray to go over the lines to make like not really a grout line because it's not supposed to be tile, but yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up and let you watch me color. You guys have seen me color 100,000 times. You know, I've had several of you, actually more than several, you mentioned that you wish you could color like me. I am considering doing some classes, like maybe 4 or 5 people to a class, do it like on Zoom or Facebook or something like that, where I'm streaming live, and maybe you have the same stamp set or whatever. You guys let me know what you think about that. You would have to supply the markers, but I would include maybe a stamp set in the price of the class. You guys let me know if you're interested in that. And again, it would be where we sit down and we color live and I walk you through something step by step. It's not going to be something this detailed. This took me 3 hours, I think. Mostly because it took me forever to pick colors, and then Rob was shopping, so I was having to text with him. So, and like I said, you know, if I had a place to do this in the living room, I would just sit outside and, you know, sit in the living room, color while Rob is watching golf or baseball or whatever he's watching. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on some music and let you watch me color. So your question of the day is, would you personally be interested in a small coloring class? Now, just so you know, I am not an expert. So this isn't going to get you Copic certified, and this isn't going to turn you into a fantastic colorer. But it would give you an introduction to alcohol markers. It would give you kind of my tips and tricks and what I've learned to do along the way. It would be really, really simple. So yeah, so that is your question of the day. Okay, I'm going to turn on some music. And oh, before I forget, you're going to see in just a minute that one of these markers leaks, and it gets a bit right there, a huge drop of ink on the table and on the gift bag. I tried everything to get it up. I tried to push it back in, and I couldn't do it. So that's why I ended up with a black a black coffee table and a really dark purple gift bag, because I could not get that green to come up, but I was not starting all over. So I improvised. But yeah, okay, music initiated. So I wanted to bring a little bit more dimension to their face, and I know, so this is a card that Amy Young Forever did on Instagram. I think this was on her Instagram or the Greeting Firm's Instagram. I honestly don't remember. And so I pulled it up as a reference so I could see kind of how to color where it looks like there's a little bit of a, her face has dimension or his face has dimension. So I feel like it looked a little bit better on the second guy than it did on the first guy on Baldy. But yeah, so that's why I pulled that up. So don't be afraid to, take a screenshot of somebody else's work and use it as a reference. So here you see I pulled up their picture because both of them have beards. And I am using my colored pencils. Initially, I was just going to kind of flick the color, but in here I'm like kind of dotting it and stuff. And then I just went ahead and did a full on beard. The issue with the, actually there it's in there you can see where the lines are shiny. I don't I need more practice with the pencils because I made Jason's beard way too dark. I mean, he was a blonde before he shaved his head. But yeah. And then I am flicking in some of the gray pencils to just add like the wood grain texture to the image. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and put this on a card base. And there I'm just erasing my pencil lines for my the spot between the wall and my floor. And then I cut this down to 8.5 by 5.5. I squared it at 4.25, and my measurements were just a teeny tiny bit off. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer and I'm just going to trim off where I needed it to be trimmed. And then that is going to be it. I think I bring in a little bit of shimmer just to the gift bags. And yeah, that's it. That is how you make a scene on Silhouette software, and then you print it out and then you color it. So thank you so much for joining me. I love your faces. I'll see you Wednesday for another crafty roulette. Bye for now.